Ooh, yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to VGR Locked Down. I am your host, Double A. Braun, along with my main man, Steven. How you doing, bro?
I'm doing great, man. I know we haven't been around for a while, so let's just jump into things. So, this coming Sunday is 2018's Summerslam. And so today we're going to go over our predictions for SummerSlam. So, let's just start. On the kickoff show, you're going to have the Raw Tag Team titles on the line. It's going to be the B Team versus the Revival. Who do you think is going to win?
I usually don't say this, Steven. I really just don't care. I mean, and I'm not sure if that was their goal for me not to care about tag team wrestling anymore or what, but I really I feel like I'm watching some jobbers in like Superstar or something like that. Like I have zero interest, but I would hope the B team. I guess the stick. Someone must be liking the stick for them to be the champion as long as they have been. From the beat Matt and Bray Wyatt. I mean, and good God, Bray Wyatt. I mean, he's done. I mean, as far as being a main eventer, being a new generation Undertaker, it's a wrap for him. I'm gonna be honest with you.
But you know what? I'm gonna have to disagree with you. Okay. I think this kind of reminds me of when the brand split first started and SmackDown got their tag team titles, and their first champions were Heath Slater and Rhino. Now, look at SmackDown. Look at what their tag team division has blossomed into. If you like tag team wrestling, SmackDown is the place to be. But I think the B team's time is over. And I got to give it to the Revival. I mean, they've been booked terribly for the last year.
Since they've been on the roster pretty much.
And I feel like a team like the B team that was considered a joke, and still the way they play them is a joke, it's the right time to go with the B team to put some legitimacy back into the tag team division.
I'd like to take a step back real quick, because you said something interesting about Rhino and Heath Slater, which I kind of take as disrespect. Heath Slater has kids, number one. Number two, they said a very, very fascinating storytelling, and it was do or die. Like, I need to win this or I will get fired. That was his story. And it was good storytelling between the relation of friendship and getting together. And Rhino was a world champion in multiple companies. So you're sitting there and acting like they're just some job guys
okay.
that no one cared about. That's a lot different than Axel and Bo Dallas.
No, it isn't. Because you know why? What was Heath Slater doing? Heath Slater was that guy that they dragged out there every week to get beat down by every single solitary retired professional wrestler that is beyond well beyond their prime. And the only reason why Rhino got the push that he did was because he was trying to do what Kane did. I mean, he failed. He didn't succeed like Kane did and become governor or was a mayor or whatever. He was running for office, and that's why Rhino got that push. But I put the B team on the same level, because what happened to Rhino and Heath Slater after they dropped the belts? What happened? They went back to the abyss, never to really be seen again until someone
had a nice
up.
run with the
but
title.
You know
nice
what?
Rub. But hold on. But my thing is, tell me one before we go along. Tell me one good thing about the story. Give me one interesting thing about the storyline with the B team, and we'll just move on.
It's not about interest. It's about legitimacy of the tag team. And right now, you guys, there's a team that's champion that honestly, they're a joke. They know that they're a joke. And I think that's why the B team got over, because they knew that they were a joke. They knew that their wins were flukes and everything. It to the point where before they went out and successfully defended their tag team titles on Raw, they had Bo Dallas doing his thing, and he's sitting there and he's crunching the numbers, and he was even pointing out to Curtis Axel the mathematical chances of them actually winning and how slim they are. Now, storyline wise, sure, that's fine. The storyline has been interesting, but the legitimacy of the belt, it's not there. And I think it's ran its course. You've given them something to do, and it's now time to go with a legitimate team, because you got Authors of Pain that's been poorly booked. You can't really put them in too much when you got a joke of a tag team. You got the potential plan of a returning Jason Jordan, and as it stands, they're going to probably put Chad Gable and Jordan back together, which is another legitimate tag team. So the future of that division Hell, that's even why Dolph Ziggler and Drew McIntyre stopped really doing tag team matches and started doing single stuff because the tag team champions aren't legitimate. So, before we deviate too far, let's continue with SummerSlam. All right, so you also are going to have on the pre-show, which is kind of disappointing since this guy was just in the WWE title match, but you got Rusev and Lana versus Andre Cien Almas and Zelina Vega. Personally, I'm hoping that Rusev wins. I mean, to go from a title match to the pre-show was kind of sad. So I'm hoping, I'm really hoping that they give him that victory, but I'm a little doubtful.
Okay, well, let me just tell you, Steven, the WWE's plan. Rusev Day got over. The whole saying got over. The whole day, every day is Rusev Day is over. It still is. Selling out a lot of shirts. I keep calling him Alex. What is that guy's name, man?
Andre Cien.
No, not him. The guy who sings Rusev Day.
Oh, Aiden English.
Aiden English. I don't know why I keep calling him Alex something. Aiden English. They're going to have them split up. So Aiden English is going to do something stupid. Screw Rusev. Rusev's going to beat him down, and he's going to become a solo. So
that might be a good thing though, because at least the one reason from what I've heard that they were planning on splitting them up is that Rusev in his current form they don't feel can be taken serious as a main eventer, and I'm hoping that their plan to split up Rusev Day is to get that Rusev Lana pairing back together, which got him over so well, and to push him up.
They don't have. It's too stacked over there for them to push him how we want him to be pushed, and this evil foreign heel, I don't want to see it again.
See, I don't think they're going to go with the evil foreign heel. Hell, Lana has dropped the accent.
She has. It's fun, and it's funny how they could just drop accents like that, and like,
hey, Kofi Kingston used to be Jamaican, man.
I know, and it's just like no one just acknowledges it. Like, so how are you even a babyface, Kofi? You've been pretending to be Jamaican all these years, and we're supposed to just cheer for you. I don't know.
They did have that funny segment where Triple H was like, "Wait a minute, I thought you were Jamaican."
Yeah, like what? We just gonna act like that didn't happen, but. Okay, but that's what's going to happen. If you want to stick to the predictions, we could talk about how upset I am about how they book Rusev, how they use Rusev all day. But yeah, he's going to lose. Pretty much. That guy's a new from NXT. He has a lot of backside, a lot of upside, a lot of potential. So he needs to continue to establish himself. So he's going to beat Rusev. I'm real confused by that match. I didn't expect the match.
It came out of nowhere. Yeah. And I guess it was one of those things where after Rusev failed to beat AJ Styles, Andre did fight AJ Styles. It was a great back and forth match. He came really, really close, and I guess it's one of those things where you want to move up the card. You failed to beat the champion, but hey, at least prove yourself by beating the last guy that was the number one contender. So maybe it pushes you up the card some. But moving on now, the match that probably should close out SummerSlam is probably going to be their first match. And I think people feel differently about it. It's a match that definitely everybody wanted to see. Some people were probably hoping that it was held off until WrestleMania. But Daniel Bryan versus The Miz. Now, for me, it's a kind of a toss-up. In theory, I would love The Miz to win this, move on over the next couple months, win the WWE title, and then they have a follow-up match at WrestleMania over the belt. But I think the outcome of this match is really going to come down to where Daniel Bryan is in his contract renegotiation. His contract's going to be expiring soon, and I think one of two things are going to happen. He's either A, going to re-sign, they'll put him over The Miz and continue to push him forward, or B, if they don't think he's going to re-sign, Miz is going to win.
You make a lot of sense, Steven. But I'm going to just go with Daniel Bryan. He's the baby face at SummerSlam. In the feud, The Miz has been a step ahead of Daniel Bryan all throughout the feud. So usually when that's the case, the guy that's a step ahead wins that match. So we'll see. I think that Daniel Bryan will win. Honestly, though, I'm gonna be honest with you, Steven. I'm serious this time. I don't know if I could follow wrestling. If this match is in the pre-show, I don't think
It won't be in the pre-show because the pre-show is going to be the Raw Tag Team titles and the Rusev Lana. And hell, if they're going to move another match to the pre-show, more than likely it would be Cedric Alexander and Drew Gulak for the Cruiserweight title. So it should, if at worst, it's going to open the show.
Okay, I'm just telling you though, if it is in the pre-show,
I'm turning the show off.
Yeah,
if it's in pre-show, I'm out. I'm gone.
Because that is crazy. But
so you heard it here first. If Daniel Bryan and The Miz's match for some reason ends up winning pre-show, just due to the stupidity of that decision, this will be the last edition of VGR Lockdown.
Absolutely.
So, I don't think you know what? Let's move on into let's talk about the match that I'm probably the least interested in right now. And Finn Balor versus Constable Baron Corbin. I have really zero interest in this match. It doesn't help that we just saw this match on Raw like a week or two ago.
Yeah, that is stupid.
And I feel like they continue to rehash the same stories with Finn Balor. Or they just did the storyline actually on SmackDown. And it was Big Cass's last feud with Daniel Bryan. And you got the big, tall guy talking to the little guy that's better, period, at professional wrestling than the big guy. And I feel like this is the same thing all over again.
Well, the thing that I'm interested in is Corbin. I'm going to call him Corporate Corbin. He's been really good in his role, like on the show. And Finn Balor needs something to do. He's a really good heel. And this new look and gimmick has worked out perfectly for Baron Corbin. So, honestly, I wouldn't be opposed to him getting the win over Finn Balor, honestly. Because you know what? In my mind, sometimes the cream, sometimes the talent doesn't always get you to where you feel like a person should be. Like Finn Balor, I kind of give up on him as being like a universal champion or a bona fide main eventer. I just don't think it's going to happen as long as Vince McMahon is with the company because, it's nothing that shows me that he's going to, be that spot. So maybe he's going to take over the Dolph Ziggler role for a while. He's a guy who's like in the middle of the pack, who's a great worker, but they just use to elevate who they want to elevate. That's probably what they're going to do. And if that's the role y'all going to have him fill, fine. I guess I have to accept it. But, yeah, I think that Baron Corbin should win, and they should continue to move up with him. Because I feel like he could definitely help bring money to the company just by how he's been performing.
And see, I got to disagree. The fact that he's already Corporate Corbin, and I honestly think he may be there may be too much of Baron Corbin right now on Raw because he has his storyline with Balor and he has a storyline with Angle. The big thing, it's almost kind of like the Daniel Bryan situation. Finn Balor's contract expires next year. So that's coming up real soon. And I feel like if Balor loses to Corbin once again, because I believe last time they fought, Corbin won, it's going to knock Finn Balor down possibly to the Bobby Roode status. So for me, I got to go Finn Balor is going to win this. I feel like this is a must win.
I'm not opposed to it. I would want Finn Balor to win, but what I'm saying is, based off how they've been using him, I wouldn't be surprised if he lost to Corporate Corbin, though, to be honest with you. But, that could work out for all of them. What you think about Shinsuke versus Jeff Hardy?
Nakamura versus Jeff Hardy, it's been kind of interesting in the sense of, and it has me real curious on what's going to happen on SmackDown. But with all that's going on, it's kind of odd that this is still a one-on-one matchup. Because you got Randy Orton, who actually doesn't even have a match on this card at the time that we're recording. Now, we are recording before SmackDown happens, so this probably won't get released until after SmackDown has come and gone. So it's a possibility that Randy Orton gets thrown into this matchup. But right now, I got to go with Nakamura.
I agree. Especially since Randy Orton has a vendetta against Jeff Hardy. He's going to interfere. Either it's going to be a DQ win or a distraction where Jeff Hardy loses. But, so, like I said, it's the WWE. The land of predictability. So, yes, we know how that's going to end.
Yeah, Randy Orton will get added to the match on SmackDown, and it'll be a triple threat match.
Okay.
But I think this is still a must win for Nakamura, too, because it's on the simple fact that just like with Finn Balor, same thing with AJ Styles, but AJ Styles is in a better position than the rest of them. Nakamura's contract is going to be expiring soon.
I've been hearing rumors that all those guys are planning on going back to New Japan soon.
I don't think they're planning on going back.
I'm just saying that's what the rumors.
I think that they gave, with AJ Styles landing the cover of WWE 2K19 when that was announced, they changed plans on putting the belt on Nakamura, and they gave him the U.S. title kind of as a consolation prize. But I feel like he's happy. I think he feels like he still has more to accomplish here. So I don't see him going back over. The money is too good, to be honest. But moving on. So, the match that, it's the new bathroom break. Despite the fact that, honestly, Cedric Alexander has been doing a fantastic job as a cruiserweight champion.
I was going to go with him.
I don't think he's not getting the same level of exposure that they did Enzo and Amore. But I feel like post Enzo, they've kind of... 205 Live is kind of like NXT now. Only difference is that 205 Live gets matches on the pay-per-views. But they kind of keep them over here to the side and let them do their own thing. But you got Cedric Alexander defending against Drew Gulak, who kind of... He's the bridesmaid of 205 Live. He's been there. He's been around. He's kind of like that, the sub... boss battle that you've had to go through.
You give me a lot of trash about not watching SmackDown and Raw, and I defend myself as much as I can. But you could give all the trash. I do not watch 205 Live, so I'm gonna just cut you off right there and just tell you this because I have no idea how those guys are used. I do not watch. I'll tell the whole world I do not watch 205 Live. I'm cheering for Cedric Alexander because he's talented and he's black. Okay? So, straight up, as far as everything else goes, if you want to tell the audience something about 205 Live and what you've seen or know about it, go right ahead. I'm going to just shake my head, yes, and agree with everything you got to say, man, because I have no idea, bro.
Well, we agree, though. While it might be for different reasons, I got to go with Cedric. I just see more heels in weight than I do see faces. I feel like the guy that's going to dethrone Cedric Alexander is going to be Leo Rush.
I heard a lot of good things about him.
I'm gonna come back to him another day since he doesn't even have a match at SummerSlam this weekend. So moving on, you got the triple threat match for the SmackDown Women's Championship. It's Carmella versus Becky Lynch versus Charlotte Flair.
You know what I want to happen, honestly, with you, Steven? I want Charlotte Flair to win, beat Carmella, and people might think it's boring, but you know what? I really don't care what people think in this situation. I don't want anybody to beat Charlotte again. I want her to be undefeated all the way until WrestleMania, and then her versus Ronda Rousey, champion versus champion, at the main event of WrestleMania next year. I would take that 100% any day. That's what I want to happen. Charlotte should never lose to Carmella. Asuka should never use the Carmella, okay? I don't know. She's a good talker, but I have no idea. I have no idea how she beat them. I don't get it. I really don't get it.
Now, I kind of agree with you. I don't know about the whole Charlotte needs to stay undefeated until WrestleMania or not. But unfortunately for Carmella, the women's pay-per-view that's going to be happening soon is probably the absolute worst thing to happen to both Carmella and Becky Lynch, because this is one of those things where it's going to be your first all-women's pay-per-view, which means they're going to need to put their best foot forward.
Yeah.
And while personality-wise,
good,
they've been great as their heel roles. As far as the quality of the matchups that they put out, not so much. And I feel like both Carmella and Alexa Bliss, their days are numbered as champion because they need to actually shape what this women's pay-per-view is going to be. And unfortunately, while it would be great to see Becky Lynch win the belt, Charlotte is money. I mean, granted, I know they say Carmella is money.
No,
as far as the women's division goes, your top two female stars is going to be Charlotte and Ronda Rousey. So, I got to go with Charlotte Flair walking out. And if Carmella does win, because they might let Carmella win just to get a little bit of bragging rights, I don't see her keeping the belt much longer.
I think they should take it off her. This should have been... Asuka should have been that person. Well, it's not too late. WrestleMania is a long time from now. But she should be the person that they should book strong enough to get Charlotte ready for Ronda Rousey. Kind of what Mankind was for The Rock to get him ready for Stone Cold. That's the role Asuka should play for Charlotte. But I have no idea how they're treating Asuka. But you know what? We'll see what happens with that. Let's talk about something. This is a feud that I've been keeping a close eye on. This is a feud that I'm not even tired of, and it's been going on for 3 months. I love their work. I love their promos. I love their matches. Even though the crowd didn't love the match that night in Pittsburgh, I liked it. Seth Rollins
versus the beach ball one.
I don't remember the beach ball, but they were chanting some random stuff. They weren't really into it. It's crazy. Like, so many people wanted Seth Rollins to main event at WrestleMania or main event this and that. And, like, when he's not main eventing, you cheer for him. But when he's main eventing, you just do something stupid like this. And it gives Vince McMahon the reason to say, oh, well, look at the crowd. Look how they're reacting. I mean, yeah, it's obvious that he's just not that guy. But, you know, in Roman Reigns, you get booed off the building for 4 years. And that's still the face of your company. Okay, well, anyways. Seth Rollins versus Dolph Ziggler is a match I'm really interested in. I predict...
Hold on, no. It's not just Seth Rollins.
Good God, can I finish?
It's Dolph Ziggler with Drew McIntyre versus Seth Rollins. I was going to get into that
before you rudely interrupted me. But yes, what's going to happen is Dean Ambrose is going to fight Drew McIntyre off for however he's going to make his big ass go somewhere. Because he's way bigger than Dean. So I don't know. Maybe he's going to hit him with a brick or something. But Drew McIntyre is going to get knocked out somehow. Seth Rollins is going to have the match won. Dean Ambrose is going to screw Seth Rollins. And Dean Ambrose is going to have a heel turn, which is going to cause
you know what?
3-month feud between those two.
We don't even need to continue. I actually agree 100% with you. Just because I think Dean Ambrose needs a change.
Needs a heel turn. Easy.
Raw needs a new
top heel. Yeah. Heel. And it's not Brock Lesnar or Paul Heyman. So
exactly.
And if they're not going to turn Roman Reigns, they might as well do that.
But this has been a great feud. I'm actually interested in seeing what this new, and I call it the new Dean Ambrose, because, you know, he cut his hair.
Yeah.
He looked like he put on a little bit of muscle mass.
Yeah.
I'm curious on how that's going to affect his in-ring style. So I'm really interested in seeing where that goes. And Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins have always put on great matches with one another. And it's going to be interesting to see how they do with a face Seth Rollins and a heel Dean Ambrose versus the last couple times it's been the other way around, where Dean was the face and Seth Rollins was the heel.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, moving on to the match that may play a big role in how the night turns out. You got Braun Strowman versus Kevin Owens for the Money in the Bank briefcase. Now, the way this is set up is that if Strowman loses by disqualification or count out, he'll also lose the title. The interesting thing about this is, despite the fact that he's currently not in the match, I'm curious on if they're going to do some sort of shenanigans to get the Money in the Bank off of Braun to Kevin Owens. And it's kind of because Constable Corbin has been a little, you know, like I said, they may be overusing him because he's been messing around with that. And then you got Jinder Mahal, who, once again, does not have a match at the pay-per-view, but he's been involved a lot in the whole Braun Strowman, Kevin Owens feud. And I feel like if they've decided to pull an audible with Braun, because Braun is one of those guys where I don't think that he needs the Money in the Bank to win the title. So, you know, the cheap way they like to use the Money in the Bank is to have them cash in on somebody when they're weakest. That's not Braun's style. So I feel like them potentially trying to pull some type of shenanigans and putting the Money in the Bank on Kevin Owens via Jinder Mahal, Constable Corbin.
You know, well, this is the thing. I just don't like, I don't know why. Maybe I'm old school. I just don't think it's babyface to wait till someone is beat down to cash. Like, one of my favorite Money in the Bank cash-ins, everybody would probably say Edge, which that was epic. It started something really big for that company. But one of my favorite ones was RVD cashing in on John Cena at ECW, saying that I don't need the cheap way out. I want you just to come home. I would like for Braun Strowman to cash it in fair and square and beat that wrestler fair and square to win his championship. That's what I want for Braun Strowman. So I'm going to predict Braun Strowman keeps the title. But we'll see if they talk about shenanigans. It is the WWE. I wouldn't be surprised. But I want Braun Strowman to beat Kevin Owens. And I want him to cash it in. Not at SummerSlam so Roman Reigns doesn't get booed at the end of the show. I want him to cash it in on his terms when they're ready to go all the way with Braun Strowman. That's what I want. So that's what I'm going to predict.
All right, so SmackDown. Back over to SmackDown. You got the Bludgeon Brothers versus the New Day.
They could do a swerve on us. They could have one the New Day turn. I think it's about that time.
I don't know. I mean, they could do it, but then it kind of negates everything they've been building up towards.
If it's no cop out, like nobody turn on anybody, I would go with the New Day winning again. But I had a feeling that they're trying to do something big with Big E Langston.
See, but all the rumors have pointed towards that they're going to keep the New Day together, mainly because of the amount of merchandise that they sell. But you can have these guys still be together and do some single stuff with them. I don't feel like you got to separate them. Kind of like when they did the Elimination Chamber and one of the members of the New Day was in there. I mean, granted, everyone thought then that they were going to go with Big E, but they ended up going with Kofi. But I feel like the issue that I'm having with this match is that the Bludgeon Brothers probably should win. But this is the least interested I have been in the SmackDown Tag Team titles in the last 2 years. I don't feel like the Bludgeon Brothers are up to the same level and standard that the New Day and the Usos have put forth. Oh, hell, I don't even think they meet the standard put forth by, no pun intended, the Bar.
Yeah.
I think this tag team run for the Bludgeon Brothers has been a failure. And I can see them trying to go back to the status quo.
Yeah, that's fine. If they want to put the belt back on a New Day, I'm cool with that. Honestly, do you play GTA 5? Grand Theft Auto 5, the fifth one. Did you play that game?
Yeah, when it came out like 5 years ago.
Yes, I know. Okay, it's a character on there that I would really want them to repackage Luke Harper off of.
Don't tell me you want him to be that guy.
I want him to be Trevor. I want him to have a singles run and be this loud, obnoxious, crazy, over-the-top lunatic guy. He's a heel. It's believable. He's a hell of a worker. And I feel like maybe he doesn't have great mic works, but I feel like he could cut a decent promo if given the right opportunity and time. Try him as a single star. He might surprise you. He's the diamond in the rough. I feel like he's a guy that has all the tools to be a main eventer, to be honest with you. But they keep putting him with a scrub. Eric Rollins is not good. Eric Rollins is really not good. So, I mean, he's the classic jobber. And the thing that makes it look even worse is he's bigger than Luke Harper. So it doesn't even look like he's carrying him like that, like how it did for Big Cass and Enzo.
Well, Luke Harper was bigger at one point, but he lost a lot of weight getting ready for this Bludgeon Brothers role. But you know what? Let's move on. We still got 3 more matches to get to.
Okay.
So, since we're still, you know what? Let's switch gears. Let's go back over to Raw real quick. You got for the Raw Women's title, Alexa Bliss versus Ronda Rousey. Personally, I feel like this is going to be that moment that they put the belt on Ronda Rousey. She's over. Unfortunately, you can't do but so much to keep her away from the belt since they thrust her towards it so quickly. What do you think?
I don't have no idea how Alexa Bliss would beat Ronda Rousey unless the whole roster comes out there and jumps Ronda Rousey. So I'm gonna say yes, but it seems like they kind of want the slow build thing.
I only see one way that Bliss retains, and I, rest in peace, Jim Neidhart. But I thought the swerve was going to be probably Natalya, her BFF for life, when she was finally going to win the belt, was probably going to screw her out of it. But I think in light of recent events, I'm not sure if she's actually going to be at SummerSlam. So I don't see any other way for them to pull this off and delay Ronda Rousey getting the belt.
I'm all for it. And I don't think anybody should be there for it. I just hope that we get a chance to see Ronda Rousey versus Charlotte. That's pretty much how I feel about it. I don't want Alexa Bliss to be Ronda Rousey, so I'm all for it. Honestly, I was kind of skeptical when she first came on the roster, but I really love her work. And the crowd of all ages seem to be really behind her. I'm just scared that she gets too big in the women's division, and then she starts going to the men's division, and we have to worry about her going over there and hip tossing Braun Strowman and stuff.
But you don't want to see Ronda Rousey as Intercontinental Champion like they did with China.
I don't want to see Braun Strowman get hip tossed by Ronda Rousey. Straight up, I don't want to see that. I don't want to see her beat Dolph Ziggler. I don't want to see that.
They're about the same size.
I don't think so. She looks real little. She looked like the security guards looked a lot bigger than her. So just imagine her hip tossing Braun Strowman.
She hip tossed Triple H.
I know, it looked bad. It looked dumb. It looked like he was acting. It didn't seem like she was really beating him up. It looked like he was acting.
He didn't want to hit a woman.
Yeah.
So you know what? I was going to go with AJ Styles versus Samoa Joe, but you know what? Because I want that match to close out the show, we're going to do that last. Okay. So we got the Beast, Brock Lesnar, versus Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship.
Roman Reigns is winning the Universal Championship and probably have Braun Strowman come out there and cash in. Now, if you said that had to be my bet, that would be my bet. But what I think is going to happen is just have Braun Strowman beat Brock Lesnar. Just get it over with. Straight up. Like, honestly, people keep complaining and, oh, man, well, why can't it be Roman? Just let Roman Reigns beat. Honestly, Steven, my biggest complaint with you about Brock Lesnar is he beats all these people. He's booked so strongly. How does that benefit any youth at all? And you tell me, well, booking him strong does benefit the youth. Having him beat the streak does benefit the youth because when a young guy comes up and beats Brock Lesnar, it seems like a really big deal. But no young guy has beaten Brock Lesnar in a way that, I used my move, I pinned him 1, 2, 3. Now, if you want to bring up that nonsense cash in money in the bank,
not even going to bring that up. But everything you say still builds on to what I'm still saying. The fact that no young talent, because I think the only people with victories, real legitimate victories over Brock Lesnar are John Cena and Triple H.
And they're not that young.
But since those are the only two guys they have victory, I do think whomever beats Brock Lesnar 1, 2, 3 on paper, it does wonders for whoever that person is.
Okay,
now
Roman Reigns is just gonna get booed out the building. But yeah.
At this point, if it was WrestleMania, it would have been great for Roman. The fact that they extended this on and then they did the greatest Royal Rumble, which was televised on the WWE Network, I think it's not going to do as much for Roman as it would do for like Braun Strowman or any of the other guys. Just because people are... I'm kind of actually tired of seeing Brock versus Roman. But I also feel like they've painted themselves into a corner with this.
Okay.
The story has been Roman getting beat, clawing his way back up, getting beat, clawing his way back up. This is one of those things where... this is a must-win for Roman Reigns. And I feel like if he doesn't win, you might as well give him the Jinder Mahal treatment and send him back down to mid-card. If Brock wins, I actually don't know where Roman goes from that. So I have to go with a Roman Reigns prediction. Now I can see them doing some shenanigans and having Braun Strowman win. I mean, come in and cash out. But that's also why I think there might be some sort of shenanigans in the Braun Strowman Kevin Owens match to give Kevin Owens the Money in the Bank, and then have Kevin Owens come out as the heel and cash in on the face Roman Reigns to set him up. And what sucks is they've done that a couple times now. They've done it with Roman. They've done it with Daniel Bryan as well. But I feel like they've painted themselves in this corner that's going to be hard for them to get out.
This is how I feel about it. Is we've been at this for almost 4.5 to 5 years now. The story that you want Brock Lesnar. And the thing that makes it crazy is y'all won't follow up in the stories that y'all make. Like, y'all told the story that every man that Brock Lesnar F5 could not kick out. Y'all told that story. I was like, okay, fine. Roman Reigns is going to kick out. He's going to go to WrestleMania. He's going to win the title. He did not. Then it's like, okay, they're in a cage match. Okay, you really wanted to go to Saudi Arabia. You wanted to get a big title win in Saudi Arabia. That'd be a perfect time. He lost. And then you have all these talents that have so much more momentum and crowd support and work rate than him, and they still want him to main event Summerslam and win. Even though Bobby Lashley actually won for what a lot of us thought was the initial number one contenders match. So, you know what? I just want to get it over with. That's just where I'm at now. I don't want him to lose. I don't want him to say, well, technically my foot was on the rope, so technically I need another rematch at the Survivor Series. I don't want that.
So I'm hoping this is also a wrap for Brock for right now, because
I agree.
He does have a UFC match coming up soon. So I know he needs to go and do some kind of training, and it is time for the belt to be
back on Raw
on a regular basis. So moving on, our last match. The match that I hope closes out the show. The match that, honestly, if Roman Reigns is going to beat Brock, this is the match that needs to close the show. And that is AJ Styles versus Samoa Joe.
AJ Styles is going to win.
I got to disagree.
Why do you disagree?
I feel like AJ Styles' time as champion, while it's been great, it's at a wrap. It is time to change the champion. I thought that Nakamura should have won it at their last match.
I disagree. Nakamura not ready.
But Samoa Joe, it's time. I feel like AJ Styles has cleaned out the main event scene right now. I think it's time to take a step back. Still have a prominent role. But let Samoa Joe have his run with the belt.
Hey, well, I'm gonna be honest with you, Steven. I can't disagree with you. And the work that Samoa Joe has done, not only his time at NXT, but on the main roster, I actually would not be opposed to him winning the WWE Championship at all. I see AJ Styles' work rate, and he's a guy that could really hold a belt for a year, and you still will probably not get bored with his title reign. So, it's only a few people that's like that. You know, Brock Lesnar did that, and I am bored as hell with that title reign. So that's why I'm saying I'm gonna go with AJ. But it's not like, oh man, it doesn't make sense for Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe, it's time. I will admit, it is time. So if they want to close the show with Samoa Joe, he'll probably get a standing ovation. To be honest with you, even though he's a heel that you somewhat know you have to respect. Kind of how Triple H was in 2000. That's the kind of heel that you hate him, but you know he's tough. You hate him, but you know he's talented. You hate him, but you see how much he loves the business, and you see how much he wants to be that top guy. That's kind of what Samoa Joe is. So I'm definitely not opposed to the idea, but we'll see. And they've been working together for how many years now? Has it been 20 years yet?
I don't even know. TNA was a long time ago.
But I'm talking Ring of Honor, and it's been a long time. So I'm sure it's going to be good. Kind of how like Undertaker and Shawn Michaels, like people like man, they had such a great match. And when's the last? They've been fighting each other for 20 years. So they better have a good match, and that's kind of what I'm expecting from Samoa Joe and AJ Styles. Maybe not that great of a match, but I'm expecting a really good match, and I 100% agree with you. That should close the show. If they wanted to go off with your top heel or your top face not getting booed out the arena, I think that's the match that should close.
So with that, you know what? That is all we have for our SummerSlam 2018 predictions. Make sure, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and we'll catch you guys next time.
Peace out.